Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? This is Valencia Flyer coming at you. Hope you're doing having a great day, great week, and also a great start to your year. I can't believe that it's already January 20th as I'm recording this. So this month is just flying by for sure. But I just wanted to say hello, give you a little update on what's going on over here on this side of the world. But also first, I wanted to remind you that I have my very first Zoom call with all my subscribers where you can get on the Zoom call with me and ask pretty much any question you want. And I will do the best to answer every single question. So that's going to be coming up January 30th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's LA time. So make sure to check out some more videos here where I'm going to set up the link so that you can go ahead and sign up. So again, January 30th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So let's talk a little bit about Portland. It has been my very first month in Portland here, January 2025, and I've discovered some things, some good, some bad, but let's get into it. So yes, this is my very first month in Portland, base PDX. And first and foremost, if you haven't seen my previous video, it has been a huge surprise for me to be even in the base. My airline let us know a couple months that they simply were not letting anyone in. So lo and behold, we still put in our request and it actually happened. Which was really, really crazy. So from my understanding, there were approximately 20 to 30 people, senior people who left Portland to go to other bases, most likely Seattle and Los Angeles, simply for the reason that Portland right now has lost all of its international flying. We used to have a direct flight to Amsterdam, but my airline decided that they didn't want to do that right now. So right now in Portland, it is all domestic flying. So I imagine to some of those senior mamas and papas, they didn't really want to hang out for that. They wanted the international flying because that's what they're into. So they decided to transfer out of Portland to other bases. That being said, it did leave a little bit of a lull, I imagine. This is just me logically talking. So my airline had to fill up some of the numbers that they lost. They might have lost probably a little bit more than they expected. And they let about 13 of us in from all various bases, but I think most of them were probably from Seattle from what I can tell. There have been some people that I've come across that I've flown before that I know were Seattle based, and all of a sudden they're Portland based along with me. And I'm like, oh, cool. So you transferred in too. It's really cool. So right now, as it stands, from my understanding, there are 110 flight attendants for my airline at PDX. I am really low. I'm probably like 106, 107, 108 out of that 110. But that's cool. I'm totally happy just to be part of the base right now, which leads me to be a little bit closer to home. So the crews so far have been really cool. I'm actually on a flight right now as I'm recording this. I'm here in Salt Lake City, and the crews have been great, very welcoming, very nice. But I would imagine also some of it has become a little bit more junior because, like I said, some of those senior people have left. So it's kind of evened out the playing field, which is kind of cool. And I see a lot of familiar faces in Portland right now, which is great. So right now I'm actually flying with 3 fabulous flight attendants that have flown before individually, but now we have a crew for here right now in Salt Lake City, and we get along just great. So it's been really, really cool to see familiar faces on the crew. What kind of flights do we have in Portland? Right now, like I said, it's mostly all domestic. We're talking about layovers probably in Nashville, Atlanta, some LA, some Seattle, some Salt Lake City like I am right now. So it really varies. Since they lost the Amsterdam flight, they have been making it up with a lot more domestics. Before Portland only had probably about 4 flights, right? I mean, literally just 4 flights all month long. But now they're kind of varying it. They have 1-day, 2-day trips, 3-day trips even, some that are pretty low credit and some that are more high credit. So it really is just a huge, all over the place. That being said, there are not a lot of flights just in period. I think If I remember correctly, in Seattle, for example, there were probably about, let's say, 80 pages, a PDF of 80 pages that had all these flights for Seattle. Compare that to what we find right now in Portland, and we're looking at probably about 3 pages. If you can, probably somewhere around 3 or 4 pages, something like that. So it's a huge, huge difference. But that being said, it's still cool. And I imagine they're probably going to expand Portland a little bit. Right now, as you might have seen on some of my other videos right here, where they've updated the Portland airport. If you haven't checked that out, check out that video right here. And I imagine because of that update in Portland Airport, that more flights will be added as time goes on. Again, I have no knowledge of this. I'm just going off of what I feel, right? So hopefully that is actually it. But now, that being said, because there's a lot fewer flights, and those flights sometimes aren't worth as much as a trip that might be coming out of Seattle is worth, therefore, there is probably going to be, I'm probably going to experience a little bit of a lull in pay simply because of that reason. So I have to see what I can do to balance it out to pick up out of Seattle or LA or some other base. So that's gonna be something that we'll have to see. I haven't experienced it yet because I'm just coming off of the holidays. But I imagine sometime in February, I might look at my paycheck and go, oh. So we'll see how that goes, but stay tuned for that. I actually just put in my very first bid for being here in Portland as well. Again, because I'm so low in seniority, I know that my wish list is not going to be, granted for the most part. From what I put in, I think I got one Seattle trip. Because I was part of the Seattle base, I never laid over in Seattle. So now that I'm part of Portland, I did get a Seattle trip on my line, and I will experience Seattle for the very first time as a layover, which I'm really excited because apparently we stayed in a really nice hotel that everyone loves. So I'll be experiencing that next month, which is great. But that was pretty much the only trip that I actually got. And as I might have told you on the last one, I think I have vacations scheduled for February or March. So I don't have a lot on my line right now because they've left that open for that vacation time. So don't know where I'm going yet, but I will let you know. But that is basically kind of how my bid went for February. Again, wasn't expecting much, didn't get much, so wasn't really all just disappointed anyway, so that's totally fine. All right, now, here's the really best part about being in Portland, and that is A days, okay? So on call days that I have approximately about 6 during each month. Typically it is scheduled 3 days and then 3 days in different parts of the month. Sometimes you'll get 6 days put together, but for the most part, it's 3 and 3 somewhere else. So in this case, I did get 3 and 3, one at the beginning of the month and one at the very end of the month. But the cool thing about it is that I am able to just be local. Before I had to fly all the way to Seattle for my A days and sit in the airport, or before I used to have a crash pad and sit there. But now I don't have to worry about that, which is a game changer in a lot of ways. Now I can just wait at home, wait for the call. They typically give me about a couple hours to report before the call, but in my experience, they really do call a lot sooner than 2 hours. The latest they can call is 2 hours before your report time, but in my experience, they call probably several hours before, if not the day before, to let you know, which is totally cool. So I'm actually on an 8-day trip right now. I was supposed to be in standby for about 2 hours in Portland. And as it turned out, there was a flight attendant who you needed to be covered on this trip. So I was put into the rotation, and now I'm here in Salt Lake City. So that is basically what happened on this A day. But it's really nice to know that on A days, I can stay home. I can try to preference for a trip if there's something interesting on the board, or I can just preference for a standby if I just want to get dressed and wait at the airport to see if they need me. But either way, it's really nice because I'm only about 20-25 minutes away from the airport, which really just changes everything, all the dynamic. I don't have to commute when it comes to that, which is great. So if I elect to pick something up out of Seattle or some other base, that's on me. That is me deciding to make that commute not necessarily be forced to commute because I have a base away from home. So it's been really, really nice. And I imagine that it'll get a little nicer as soon as I know how to, you know, work things to my advantage a little bit more. So we'll see how that goes. What is the future of PDX? Right now, they're saying that we might get some more interesting lines probably at the end of 2025 or 2026. Right now, the way it is today is probably the way it's going to be for the majority of the rest of the year. But I'm hearing a rumor that we even might get a trip directly to Boston, which would be fantastic because I love doing Boston layovers. But again, I don't think that would be until 2026. No promises, but we'll see how that goes. And I think there might be a Washington, D.C. trip that goes from Portland as well, directly to Washington, D.C. So that would be really cool because that's another great city to lay over in. So stay tuned for that. As far as international though, you know, there's a lot in the rumor mill where people are saying like, well, we might get another Asia, we might get an Incheon or Narita, which is near to Tokyo. So we'll see. Now, you know, this is all just speculation, but hopefully we will get an international, hopefully sometime soon. In addition to that, I'm hoping that they're going to let more people into Portland. Right now, like I said, there's only 110. So if they let in another 20 or 30 or 40 flight attendants between now and the summer, theoretically, if they're junior to me, that will elevate my seniority. If they're senior to me, then it'll push down my seniority. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they're junior, because I do know that we're going to be expecting to hire between 1,400 and 1,600 new flight attendants coming on the line in 2025. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully they'll grow the base a little bit more with some new fresh blood, and that'll be great for everybody. So we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, so that is the update for Portland. So far, so good. I've been enjoying it. This is a beautiful hotel that I'm in right now. It's a beautiful city, a lot of snow-capped mountains right here in Salt Lake City right now. It's been really, really nice. So it's just a matter of being able to balance out the checkbook, if you know what I mean, between flights in Seattle or versus PDX. So we're still working on that. Well, that'll be a work in progress. So again, that is a report right now from Portland. So go ahead and put any comments or any questions you have at the bottom. And remember, my very first Zoom call with you all is going to be January 30th at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. And I hope you're there, and look out for that sign up link that I will be posting very soon. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been great to see you. And I hope to see you soon live on the call, and we will see you on the next one. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.